Get it straight, Buster. I'm not here to say please. I'm here to tell you what to do, and if self-preservation is an instinct you possess, you better do it, and do it quick. I'm here to help. If my help's not appreciated, then lots of luck, gentlemen. If I'm curt with you, it's because time is a factor. I think fast, I talk fast. I need you guys to act fast if you want to get out of this. So, pretty please, with sugar on top. Listen to Thrive Loud with Lou Diamond.
Get ready to thrive loud with Lou Diamond.
Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Thrive Loud with Lou Diamond, connecting you to the most inspiring and amazing people that are thriving each and every day. I'm your host, Lou Diamond. Today on Thrive Loud, we have a speaker, image consultant, seminar leader, and coach, a two-time breast cancer survivor. She advocates for women going through similar journeys. Her signature seminar, Men, Sex, and Money, as well as her coaching practice, focus on the connection between communication, sensuality, sexuality, financial clarity, and pleasure, particularly when starting over. Her recent book, Sexy, Sassy, and Starting Over, Recipes for a Sweet and Savory Life After Divorce, is everywhere and is going to make for a fun conversation. Karen Solomon, welcome to Thrive Loud.
Hey, Lou, thanks. Looking forward to what we come up with here.
Karen comes to us from the West Coast, but not really originally from the West Coast. She's transplanted several times over from different places. And we got a chance to meet in September of 2019. And she's got a good story, and she's also got a really positive and unique attitude. I want to start right out of the gate here and talk about what I read in the opening here. Sexy, sassy, and starting over. Care to share a little story with our listeners?
I mean, like, why did I have that audacious name next to my photo on a book?
It got your title an attraction to people to say that sells. I like that.
Thank you. Well, you know, I had a long marriage late in life, and it was even later in life when it ended over, 20 years later. And I wasn't washed up. I mean, I was in my 50s and I felt hot and sexy and starting over. And it was like, it's not over just because you decided that what you were doing before needs to shift. And I just realized there were especially because I relocated, Lou, I was realizing there were so many people that I was meeting, whether I was dating or meeting new friends, that were also starting over. And some of them, never lost the baby weight from 25 years ago, or they weren't feeling so sexy and sassy. And I'm like, come on, we've got this one. So that's kind of where my coaching conversation comes in.
Let's take that coaching conversation there. Give me some of the steps on how, let's specifically talk about women that you help recognize that they're sexy and sassy.
I will, although I'm going to be perfect. When people say to me, so who's your target? Like, who are you working with? I said, well, women can beg me to work with them. I've worked with them for years. Like my Men's Sex and Money course was developed for young women. But truth is, Lou, I work with couples and I work with divorced men over 45. That's my main thing now. So
okay, so but I guess I understand that they're both messages there, and
true.
Would there be a difference in working with either one of them in the message that you work to communicate with them and helping them to help find that sexiness or sassy?
Yes, absolutely. And you know what? Part of it is I'm going to put a little plug for having over 3 decades being a style and image makeover consultant in San Francisco, which actually that's another thing I don't like about San Diego, Lou. Everybody wears flip-flops. It is not a style town, okay? It's not good for an image consultant business-wise. But San Francisco was, okay? We really had almost 4 seasons, at least 3. But I have been redoing people's lives by redoing their wardrobe for years. And so many women, and myself included in this, if I have an extra 5 pounds, I'm like, that's it. I'm not going out. I mean, it's unbelievable. Do I look okay? Do I look fat? And of course, you probably know as a guy, as a married man, it is no fun when your wife says, do I look fat? Because it's like, uh-oh, trick question. If I lie, she'll know it. If I say yes, she'll hate me. There's no win in it, right?
I have a real specific answer to that. Is I will never, ever, ever answer that question differently, is what I told her. So, and it's, it's a matter. It's just what it is.
Right. And that is, no, of course, honey, you look great.
Yeah.
Something like that. Anyway, but the truth is, if we don't feel great, we're not going to look great. There's plenty of people who have, this is not about weight. There's plenty of people who have extra weight that are still sexy and sassy. It's all about how we feel. So back when I say about being an image consultant, I would find myself in a dressing room or in a closet with a woman who just was going, look at my this, look at my that, different body parts. Oh my God, I need plastic surgery. I'm getting old. And I would just say, how about we look at the parts we like? As a matter of fact, I have an exercise I do in my Men's Sex and Money workshop with women where I put a mirror up at the front of the room and they have to go, they look at us and we all tell them about a bunch of things that we think they look, no, excuse me. First they have to start with themselves. They have to look in the mirror and tell the rest of the group 5 things they like about looking at themselves. I like my blue eyes. I like my long legs. I like this. I like that. Because we as women are in a society where our bodies are so shamed, no matter what size and shape we are. And it's not easy. And that leads to some self-rejection and the competition. And you have a teenager, you know what I'm talking about. It's brutal out there. So I think that's where I start is let's love yourself. Ooh, you just left a marriage and you don't know who you are without the kids. You're empty nested. Let's find out who you are. And so I want them to figure out ways that they can love themselves.
I want to talk about images here because this is unique. Because I recognize when I hit my 40s, actually, they do that 10-year picture recently. They've been doing that all over the place. Like you look at your picture now and they go back 10 years ago, see how you look and you compare. There's a bunch of that. I was unhappy in my work. I was definitely not as physically fit as I am today, 10 years ago. And I also changed the way that I dress and the way I look because I'm on stage more than I was just working at a desk with clients.
Exactly, right.
Okay, so that's definitely a career change and also an image change on what I need to do, and it's something I'm conscious about. Not everyone is even aware of it, and I'm also aware you want to be healthy, but you also want to be happy with who you are. Talk to me about when you're being an image consultant, how you match up what somebody looks like and what you do to adjust their look so that they like maybe who they are a little bit better.
This is a super fun conversation for me, one that I'm well versed in. And first, I want to make the distinction that though I will do image consulting now, it is part of a much bigger let's make over your life package. I just need to make
totally agreed. We're not selling that. I just want the specific instance.
Oh, absolutely. Thanks for asking.
Yeah.
So the very first thing I do, I actually finally got my act together and wrote a workbook called Clothing, Confidence, and Charisma.
A lot of alliteration going on here.
I just can't help it. But it really is about your clothing, confidence, and charisma to answer your question about career image change. Well, how do I, I'm going to be obnoxious and say congruency, because frankly, if, as you said, you're starting to get on stage more and what you realize, what you were wearing when you didn't give a hoot working at home or working in an office cubicle, whatever the heck your background was, or driving around doing whatever, it was like, oh, people are looking at me. Oh, first impressions. Oh, shoot. I need to have that first impression be congruent with my message. I need to look freaking great now if I'm going to charge these fees. It's the same way with websites. It's the same way with social media. You want to actually be congruent. So the first thing we do is we take a deep look. I actually will, the workbook, what it includes is a whole list of I would say to you, Lou, if it were you, let's say you said to me, Karen, my whole life's changing. I need to do this. What do I do first? I'm saying, you know what I want you to do, Lou? I want you to send me a list of every single activity in your life. If it's a black tie party you go to only once a year at Christmas time, include that because you have to have clothes for it. You don't want to find out on December 21st you need something to wear. So you list everything you do. And then I have a whole list of adjectives I would provide for you. And it would be, how do you no longer wish to be seen? And remember, you asked about women. So it's like with women, it's like, I don't, especially a lot of women at midlife, they're like, I don't want to be seen as middle-aged and dumpy. I don't want to look frumpy. I don't want to look old. I don't want to look weary, tired. I don't want to look like a wallflower. Okay, well, once we find out what you don't want to look like, what do you want to look like? I want to look abundant. I want to look approachable, but I want to look really sophisticated. And I'm looking at them going, oh, yes, I'm glad you hired me. Because that's a typical thing I will do. I mean, an example is one of the extremely wealthy household name client I had one time had literally just raised 9 kids with 3 different husbands.
Oh, my goodness.
And she'd gone through breast cancer herself. And I met her at a party. And she not even knowing what I did, she came over and she said, I really like your style. I said, thank you. And she had no style. And she's a beautiful woman. She was a runner, great shape, about 55 at the time. And I said, and so she found out what I did. And when I went to her closet, I mean, she had very expensive things that did not suit her. They weren't right for her. It was like somebody, putting on a Mickey Mouse suit when they don't work at Disneyland, or it's not Halloween. It's like, what are you doing? Okay. We never know what analogies are going to come out of my mouth, but that one did. Anyway. So
I get there too on that. I have that problem. Some of the randomness that runs through my brain of the things that I'll compare things to. So I'm on the same page with you, Kat.
Yeah.
Same page.
Like, you've got to be kidding that came out. But anyway, so when it becomes to a career and image change, what I have to do is say to them, and a perfect example of that is a woman who's been a mom. She is identified with a soccer mom's car. She's worn, baggy whatevers because she had the extra baby weight. She probably doesn't even have it now, but she did for so long. She just hit her body. She doesn't feel particularly sexy. If she's gotten a divorce, that's even could be more so. So it's like, and that's why I don't just do it's never just about the clothes, Lou. It's never been just about the clothes. It's always been about the transformation, kind of from the outside in or inside out. But now it's really the inside out. It's like, I don't even like to dress like one male client I had recently. I just took one look at him and I said, you know what, usually I wait, but if I could come over to your closet sooner than later, and finances were not a problem for him. And because he really went from being in the Navy most of his life, his whole life had shifted. I literally he's a big guy. I'd walked out of his closet. My arm was breaking. He said, no, I don't need the hangers. And I had 24 shirts on wooden hangers over one arm.
Oh my goodness.
It was heavy. And then what we did, we only bought him 3 shirts at first because he wanted to lose some weight. But I was with him the night he was wearing one of them, and I heard 3 people gave him a compliment. Wow, your eyes look great. Wow, you look great. I just was laughing to myself, going, they're noticing him. He wasn't disappearing behind some persona that's no longer him. So does that make some sense?
Totally. What I want you to clarify for me and our listeners is you have the ability to coach people and talk about communication, their sensuality and sexuality, but also you blend in this financial clarity. Can you talk about that a little bit on how that, I guess, is an important communication in what you do?
Yeah, thank you. And I'm going to make it clear, I'm the last thing from a financial planner. When I talk about financial clarity, I named that course, Men's Sex and Money, was started in 2001. I was semi-retired with my ex-husband, and we lived in an estate in Sonoma County when I bought the house so I could do not-for-profit events and workshops. And one of my friend's daughters had just graduated Stanford. She said, you're really easy to talk to about relationship. May I come spend some time with you? I said, sure, bring your friends. Put my school teacher hat on and said, because that was my first career. And I thought, what do these young women need to know? They need to know about men and the differences between men and women and communication and all that. They need to know about sex, which is everything about intimacy. How do you ask for what you want? Consent, STDs, what's pleasurable, what isn't, all of it. And then they need to know about money, meaning lifestyle choices. And so I laugh and I thought to myself, okay, let's talk more about that. And I went to a lecture recently called How to Date Your Species, Ask for, and Get What You Want. And it was really interesting. So if you're a 25-year-old woman and you want to get married and have babies, and you meet a guy who said, I hate kids, that's not your species. That's what he meant. Or if you're a particular church or other religious thing that you're into, then that would be who you're looking for. But when it comes down to the money piece, it's a big piece too, Lou, a huge piece, because, we fell in love. Let's spend the next year planning our marriage. And I'm like, okay, because I mentor young people. It's one of my favorite things to do. 20-somethings, 30-somethings, they'll do a half day with me before they even go toward their wedding to get in the communication stuff. Anyway, I will say to them, like to this woman, let's say she grew up in a family of, lawyers, doctors, everybody has advanced degrees. That was clearly, I know in my world growing up, all my entire family went to Ivy League schools except the rebel called me. Everyone's doctors, lawyers, PhDs. They just are, So, but that was the religion. That was the species, right? And so, but what about the woman who comes from that, who marries a guy whose family were massively successful contractors who didn't find it important to get educated?
Right.
So when she's going to bring a kid into the world and assume, keyword assume, it's an unexamined assumption, one of my favorite terms, she assumes that they're going to have a college fund for the kid. And the guy's like, no way, let's buy Bitcoin. Yeah, but or let's go buy more golf, or let's go buy a boat. I mean,
Right.
it's just a different species. I just love that. And it's also for real, has to be talked about.
Yes, that's
And
the key.
right. It has to, because it's lifestyle. And so many times, the young people particularly, or even older people, they meet, they have chemistry, they maybe second, third, fourth, even 10th date, go to bed with each other, but they don't ask these questions. And then they get engaged, and then they get married, and then they go, yeah, but, well, we never talked about that. Exactly. Lou, one of my sayings is that when we are truly in communication with someone, absolutely anything is possible.
I love asking this question of people who are coaches that have been on this program. We all have off days when we're not kicking on all cylinders and not truly on our game. Karen, when you have trouble thriving, who or what practice do you seek to get yourself back on the thriving track?
Oh, I love that. Thank you. One of the initial things I do is say, get out of your head, girl. Get out of your head, because it's not your friend right now. And I move my body. It could be, if it's, terrible weather, I don't have time to go to the gym or whatever, I will pump up the music and dance. Or I will go outside and I have a practice where I literally will scream if I need to. Like if I'm really pissed off, I'll just put my hand over my mouth. So you don't want to have domestic violence police show up, right? But I'll just go, "Arr!" If it's frustrating. You didn't really ask about the frustration, but if I'm off my game, most important for me is to make sure that I move my body. So get in my body. And I have certain people, support systems, a coach that I reach out to. And actually that leads to something that I provide for my clients, which is very unusual, which is why I have them retain me. I say, look, I know if you're in a crisis in your relationship, because I work with a lot of couples now, and that is, you probably can't wait till 2:00 next Wednesday to talk to me. You get to text me the letters SOS, and then I will get back to you with the next 10-minute window I have. It could be that day, it might be the next morning, but they know I've got their back. Like, I'm going to kill him. Maybe don't kill him. Could you, not on my watch, could we please have a chat? And I'm doing that with a couple from LA right now who were referred to me, and it's changed their relationship because we're able to break the habits right away, the bad habits. He's doing this. Okay, we're going to get on a 3-way tomorrow. That's it. But right now, are you willing to do this? And so for me, I reach out to people as they reach out to me, and I have my go-to people. So I'd say people and exercise. And okay, I'm going to be honest. Mm-hmm. I binge, but Game of Thrones is over. I'm not sure what's next.
You binge. I was like, where are you going with this?
I binge on really good series.
You obviously have a huge perspective on life, obviously, and I'm glad that, you're here today as a survivor of breast cancer twice.
Thank you.
And all these incredible things you've been doing throughout your life. And I love your open-minded passion for just about the way you speak about things. Let's do this. Let's take the admin part of the show here before we get to all the fun favorite parts of the show. Share with the listeners all the places people can find you. We will include all of it in the show notes, but it always comes better when they hear it from you.
Oh, wonderful. Thanks for the opportunity, Lou. So my website is KarenSolomon.com. I like to say I'm a direct descendant of the king, which is spelled all O's. So KarenSolomon.com, SOLOMON. And you said you're going to post a link anyway, so they'll be able to see the spelling.
Yes.
And then Instagram, since there was another Karen Solomon who had that, I went with my image consulting business name, which is Success Appeal, which sort of does sound like sex appeal. Yes, it's true.
I like it. It's got, with sex sassy and starting over, and there's S's in it. So you're continuing the alliteration. So
you're so on to me. I'm so busted. Anyway, so I'm Success Appeal on Instagram, and back to my name, Karen Solomon on LinkedIn. So is there anything I'm missing?
No, you're good. And we'll thank you for sharing all that.
Yeah, thank you.
And now we're going to have a little bit of fun here. I'm going to get with the standard Thrive Loud stuff, and then I'm going to go a little off the reservation because I know you can handle it. Is that cool?
My fave.
All right. First of all, answer for our listeners your all-time favorite movie.
It's going to be a surprise for some people who've never heard of it, but it's on Netflix. It's called Dangerous Beauty.
Oh, share with me. I have not heard of it. What is it about, and why does it connect with you?
It's about there's the word courtesan. Courtesan is sort of like the very high end prostitutes from the 15th and 16th century during the Inquisition in Europe, where I don't know if you knew this, but 8 generations of women were burned at the stake, mostly for anything heretical, anything. And in those days, royalty, it's about basically royalty in Venice, Italy. It's a beautiful movie. And the royalty, the women, the royal women had to sit home doing needlepoint, and they weren't allowed to learn to read or write. They were all illiterate. They didn't know anything about politics. But the courtesans were beautiful, and they were trained by their mothers, who were predecessor courtesans. And they were trained to not only be the love interest for all of the royal men who were unbelievably bored with these royal women that they had to marry because they didn't know anything, because they weren't learned. These women were not only completely learned and they spoke languages, but they could go to the men's clubs, but they were the confidant for many of these high-end men. And that particular movie speaks to me. There is a scene in that movie where this woman is being tried in a court with the Inquisition, the scary magistrates and all this. And you look, and because you've seen the whole movie at that point, yes, I am definitely giving you spoilers.
It's okay.
Too bad.
Keep going, and then I'll opine. Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So anyway, there's a scene in that movie where she's being tried. They want to hang her or kill her or burn her at the stake or whatever for being a courtesan. And I think the question is there any man who would defend her or whatever? And one man who loves her the most stands up, and then like 30 other men stand up, including one of the magistrates. In other words, they'd all enjoyed her company at one way or another. And it was so profound because it represented a woman in her power, in her pleasure, and in her beauty. And men finally getting that, whoa, you know what? This works for us. We need women to be in their power and their pleasure. What do we need to learn to help a woman be in her power and their pleasure? Because you know what? You guys win. And this is from the bedroom to the boardroom, and I'll stand boardroom to the bedroom, whichever way you want to put it. I will stand by that statement. If women are in their pleasure, everyone wins.
That is a powerful statement. I like that. And this is a Thrive Loud first. I was going to tell you, I know a lot of movies. One, I didn't know the movie. And 2, I've literally just written it down, and I'm going to watch it tonight.
Watch it with your wife. It's a good one.
Well, we will. I mean, we're always looking for something else to watch because we do better with movies than we do with
TV.
Than we do with TV shows, because we'll get into a TV show and then it'll just keep going, and they don't know when to end it, and it's just disappointing. But anyway,
well, I want an email tomorrow. Okay, next.
You'll get the full report.
I'll get a review.
We'll make sure we give you a review. Okay, want to continue down this trend. You've lived in a bunch of places. You get to use your magic fingers and snap it and pick yourself up and put yourself in your favorite place that you love to be. Where is your favorite place that Karen Solomon loves to be? It doesn't have to be to live. It could just be the spot in the world that you want to be in, that you enjoy most.
North Shore, Kauai.
Oh,
Hanalei Bay, Kilauea. Yeah.
Yeah, that's by like Princeville over there, right? North Shore.
Yeah, Princeville, smack in the middle of Kilauea. I got married in Kilauea. I mean, we had property there. It's just home in my being.
I love that. And our last question to bring us home here in our favorite section here on Thrive Loud, and that is, I got to see you get on stage and pitch to a whole bunch of other people. Those that were at this famous New Media Summit 2019. We've had a bunch of them here on Thrive Loud. Is there a jam that you like to hear? When you mentioned you like to move and hear music and go with, what is the go-to tune that Karen Solomon gets herself moving to get her back on the thriving track, or maybe brings her to stage so she can share a message that's sexy, sassy, and on the sweet, savory spot that she likes to communicate?
Okay, now I'm going to date myself. Should I tell him? It's I gotta figure out the name of it. I might have to go. It's I just find it. It's Talking Heads, and it's Take Me to the River.
Oh, okay.
I just can't think of the name right this second because I was so not expecting that question. But
we try to keep you on your toes here on Thrive Loud.
Doing
Karen.
Just fine. Talking Heads.
Talking Heads. Take Me to the River. That's the good tune. And why does that song connect with you? We'll play that right underneath us right here as we're listening.
Oh, yay.
What is it about this song that you like the most?
First of all, it has great memories for me of literally, it's Take Me to the River is the name of it.
I think so. Yeah.
Duh. And back in the 80s, was that when it was that long ago? Maybe. Yeah, I think it was. Yeah. Okay. All right. It's true. I was in my 20s. Yes. So you do the math. No, don't. But Take Me to the River, I was in a real tough spot. My mom was dying of cancer. You asked me before, what do you do when you're like really off your game? I was off my game, and I was introduced to some people who led a workshop, and they would always start every single one of their lecture sessions with everybody dancing, and that was the song they used. And I went and met with them. I did a week-long thing with them in San Miguel de Allende, Mexico recently, and this was like in August, and I cracked up. He started with that damn song. But it works for me because it brings back memories of me coming back to me.
Karen Solomon, you truly do thrive loud. I can't thank you enough for coming on the show. Sexy, sassy, and just a rock star.
Thanks, Lou. Really fun. Appreciate it.
And to all our Thrive Loud listeners out there, thank you for joining us. And until next time, keep thriving onward and upward. And remember, be brief, be bright, be gone.
You've been listening to Thrive Loud with your host, Lou Diamond. Make sure to subscribe wherever you listen to your podcasts and check us out on the web at thriveloud.com or follow us on Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, and Facebook at Thrive Loud.